you ready, Tom?
I'm going.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, good afternoon. I just wanted to touch base with commissioners and other elected officials if they wanted an input for our next pictometry flight. What I have in front of you is, the first one is our first option and is already currently in our contract with pictometry to fly next March of 2019. And when we first laid out the contract, our idea was to fly I-25 up to the county line and to the west. The tiles in red are at the 9-inch elevation, and everything in yellow is at the 3 to 9, or green, which is the city of Trinidad and outlying areas, to get a better image. With talking with Derek and some other elected officials, I would like your gentlemen's input and other people's input of what they'd like to be seen flown. The first option is already in our contract to be flown.
Explain this. We've already done this, or
We've flown the whole county. This is what we can fly for our second flight.
either the yellow or the red.
It would be the whole thing, Mac. All of this area.
It'll just be different resolutions.
It would be different resolutions.
Okay.
The second proposed is if we flew 350 up to the county line and to the west of our county, to our west county line border. Of course, that means more money. I know most of our building currently is taking place on the west, so anything that would have been constructed, we would be able to get updated imagery from off of our next flight next March. Derek and I have been having some discussions. He would like to see the Aguilar Golden area, correct, flown, so he can do his job in helping locate some of these illegal marijuana grows. And the imagery I have attached, the first one, that is the 3-inch imagery. That is the courthouse imagery at 3 inches. And what I've printed out is just how clear the image is and how much detail you can make out. The second image is of our 9-inch imagery that we flew. For my purposes and what we've done in the assessor's office, it still works, but as you zoom in closer, you can see it gets pretty pixelated, so you have a hard time getting a lot of defined detail and things of that nature.
Let me ask you this, Derek. On this picture, does that do you any good?
Yeah, it does. And actually, we had a call last week that I had to get with Jody because we could not find this road. We could not find a road out in the model area in Bear Springs Road. It was actual property, but they had like a fifth wheel. It wasn't a residence, and she was able to pinpoint where it was, and we could see it on that map, and I was able to direct our deputies to the right house. It was a little bit pixelated, but we could still see at least the roads and where things sat. So it really helped find that place for us.
So this you can use, get by with. Is that correct?
I probably could, but I don't know much about the system. She knows more about what I haven't had a chance to really mess with it. We're going to have a training here soon where I'm going to get some of my guys that we can get acquainted with that system. But it goes to a point where you can see, but when you get real close, it gets a little sketchy. But what I may look at is the outline of the place, the residences, the property, and not so much detail, but at least I can see how it lays out.
So you can see where a wall's at, or something could be hiding, or that kind of thing.
And I'm not sure about the resolutions. I should know more about that, but just for the general outlay, it has worked really well for us already.
So this is, and that same picture.
Yes.
Just blown up.
They're just printed, just to show you as I can print as we get closer to the resolution. They're printed at the same pixels. The 3-inch you can get very clear image. The 9 still works. And of course, unfortunately, the smaller the imagery we get, the better the imagery we get. Of course, the price goes up. There's always a catch. But we've been using this, and we put on over $33 million in actual value on our tax rolls using the 9-inch. And I didn't know for like law enforcement or for fires, if we needed better resolution or if the 9 is sufficing. The last fire we had out at the Box Ranch, from my feedback, what I got back from the fire departments is that the 9 was great. It was better than anything they've had.
You know, and I'm not gonna, I don't wanna spend a lot of time on it, but we have got to figure out some way to safeguard that. Well, my brother-in-law would really like to have that. And we just transferred over to my brother-in-law on his phone.
Correct, and right now I have complete administrative control over it. So when we have personnel that leaves, the minute they're gone, I get in there and I deactivate their accounts. So they cannot log on to Pictometry. I also send forwarding emails on to let them know that these folks on this list are the only ones that can have access to it, because this is all web-based.
And see, the realtors are gonna want it.
Oh, yes, I've already had comments and questions about that, but it's proprietary to the county. It is a county tool.
Can we charge them?
We cannot. Dixie and I have had this conversation.
We can't charge them.
I can charge them for, when they come in and get physical images, we are charging them for that. But as far as like opening up access to it, we cannot. It's a conflict of our contract.
And it's not real time, so they can't sue us
No.
because we're not watching them.
Right. The images you see now are as of March of 2016.
When do they plan to fly? June?
March of next year, because they have to fly before all the foliage is. And like I said, that first option 1 is already in our contract, and it would be that second paragraph. It contains 970 sectors of 9-inch and 50 sectors of 3-inch imagery, and that would be roughly I-25 up to our state line on I-25 and west.
Paul, did you call Christina?
And that's one of the things, because we are funding it out of capital improvement funds, we would have to make sure we had funding in there.
That's why I
Right.
wanted here.
Yes.
If you don't mind.
No, I do not mind. She would have the best know-how, because when we set this up, it was going to be a budgetary item that commissioners would
Okay.
take on.
Okay, now let's say we don't have 124, but we've got 80. What are you gonna do?
We should be able to pare it down to an area, and that's where I would like information and input from other offices that are using it as what's the valuable flight area for them to get their most use out of it, because the Sheriff's Department has been using it immensely. My office uses it daily. We've used it for fires. We've used it for a lot of different situations. I know the treasurer's office, we've walked her through it when she's doing foreclosures and things of that nature. The bad part is if we don't continue to fly and update the imagery, we will be stuck in 2016. The good side is we do have a full flight and a full image of the entire county, except for the little black boxes to the far west because the altitude is too high. The elevation of the mountains we can't fly up.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. We got Space Wars, or what's it? They're in the Space Force. It's hard to.
Oh, I heard that.
Who else is using it? Donna's using it?
Donna's using it, my office is using it, Bobby uses it for,
Phil Warren.
Phil Dornkamp uses it. Most of our county offices are using it.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking of splitting out the budgets?
Well, no, I want to get where we're needed it most.
Correct, and that's why I sent out an email to
We
all
don't need
elected.
anything in Branson. We don't ever have to take another picture in Branson.
That's why I wanted input from other departments as to how they're utilizing it. I know Phil's using it for roads, and when they're trying to figure out where we need a new culvert or where we need cattle guards, things of that nature. The Sheriff's Department has endless uses for it, and so far everything that Derek has called, we've been able to supply instantly and help him out.
And I know you guys don't have computers in your vehicles yet. You talked about getting that down the road, but can they use their cell phones?
You can
Yeah,
use
that's
any
fine.
internet
If they have
connection
service.
if they have service. You can have a tablet, it'll run off a tablet, a laptop, a PC, a desktop, anything that has service. If not, like I've been doing, we've been printing them out, or I email them to Derek.
Forward it to your office?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, on one of the calls we had, she was able to give me the distances between a house and two people issue with each other. So I can gauge how far away, just by her measurements with the lines going to the properties, it gives out the measurement. So people can't say that it's this far or that far. We could actually get on there
And it's pinpointed.
actually tell you live 0.2 of a mile, so there's no way, whatever, you know, you can dispute that. So it's been really a helpful tool for us.
I've supplied the district attorney's office investigators with some information about elevation, grade, ingress, egress, things of that nature, using pictometry.
Do we charge them?
No, because they're a county office.
Well, it's not a county office, it's a district.
Let's see here. What is the reason for the option to
In case we-
350 in the county line?
Right, because one is just I-25 west, your first option.
Yeah.
That second option is 350 county line and to the west. Essentially, we would be flying
this-
more area.
Okay, but this would make it lower resolution on this one?
Right. The only
So-
place where we would have the 3-inch resolution would be the green, the city.
Okay, so it would all be 9-inch,
Correct.
except for Trinidad city limits, basically.
Correct. Which all that would be doing is giving us what was sitting out there as of March of 2019. New structures, new building, changes to landscaping, things of that nature.
And is there a reason why you wanted to do this?
We were discussing it, and he's getting a lot of calls in that
Oh,
area.
So that area, okay, I thought it was going there.
Well-
I'm getting several hits east 350, going there, Von Cargo, LACBCC, and get a ton of calls. So I'm kind of centering on those 3 areas.
So if you had to pick one area, what would you pick?
If you can get the Golden Air, Von Cargo, LACBCC area, that's probably my priority right now. Not to say the other ones aren't, but there's more calls, I would say, as far as what they're seeing, what they're reporting. I've had it all over, but it seems that those areas are the spots that we get. So if we can get that, that would be great.
And our option 1 would cover that. And that's already in our existing contract with pictometry.
So option 1 would take a picture of all of this country, but some of it would be different resolution.
It would be the same resolution we paid for the first time. I just wanted you gentlemen to see the difference in the resolution.
We have the money for it, I'd take higher resolution.
I know, but that's why I'm coming to you gentlemen. The higher resolution is wonderful.
Because we'll have to do it again, I mean, you have to update it, but is that gonna be the same price next year or 2 years from now again?
We're locked in, so our price is held for the next 3, which is a blessing. And the other neat tool that we purchased with it is called Change Finder. So once we fly that, and if there's been, say I have an existing house and somebody added a garage, I automatically get a spreadsheet of, we have a house and now here's a new construction, here's a new building. So it makes the efficiency in my office and the time of having to dig through data, we get it on one spreadsheet where we can go down and say, oh, we got a new garage, this one was demoed, this one was built, we got a new house. So it's tracking any change in the building, in the imagery.
So I guess the next question is, do we have the money?
And I guess that's why
That's why it's Christmas.
Christie could help.
Well, so we budgeted for our roof in the capital expenditure, you know that, and it's 124, and I don't know, I guess I'm gonna have to actually probably do a breakdown of what we have obligated there, because we haven't paid the 118 yet for this year. The 118, that hasn't come through yet.
I haven't seen it, no.
No, that one hasn't come through yet. And then we have the energy that comes, that we have to pay every month for the lights that go on and off. Then what we budgeted for the repairs here, we don't know, is it gonna cost us any more money if they come down and they find something that is more?
And this would be budgeted for next year.
Oh, okay, for this year, I'm talking about
This year, no. This would be budgeted for next year because we don't fly until
Our
next
capital
year.
expenditure is our capital expenditure. You know, this is all the money we have in there, unless we get to keep the excess. And then maybe we can budget a little bit more there and go everywhere. It all depends on the excess, if we're gonna talk about if there's any extra money.
in terms of what you have found and what you put on the tax rolls, how dollars is it brought in?
Because our mill levy is so low, we're looking at about $30,000 to $40,000.
In 2
And we
years?
haven't, in 2 years.
Okay, but what percentage of, what percentage have you covered?
We've only covered maybe a half of the county.
Nothing happens out east, so don't.
Nothing happens out east. We've primarily been focusing on the western part of our county with the subdivisions. We haven't even started in the city limits of Trinidad yet.
Oh boy, so that's gonna bump it.
That's going to, our actual value that we're putting on the tax roll will be going up.
So we're gonna have a lot more BOE then.
Good
Hopefully
guess.
not. Not this year, but possibly next year.
Okay, so in 3 years, we have to pay $62,000 a year, is that what I'm reading here?
Yes, for the next slide.
So we brought in half of what it's gonna cost us for the next one.
Correct, and we've only been actually putting it to work for probably a total of 10 months over a 2-year period.
And that's permanent, so we're gonna
That's
start
permanent.
getting that 30,000
Correct.
every year. I'm trying to make the math work.
Do you think the city will double it once we do or triple it?
I believe the city will gain a lot.
When we do the, get her on it. Who's doing the
Tammy. Tammy's the one that's working it mostly in my office. Her and myself. But right now we're wrapping up protest and getting ready for all that fun.
Well, from law enforcement, I can see a huge, I think there's gonna be money coming in from that.
I mean, in just the instances that Derek has called, I mean, it's been invaluable to have this imagery and the tools that it allows us to do.
Well, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but to me, if you can look at that, you have a plan going in rather than just walking in there and wondering what the hell's gonna happen. This way you say, okay, I need to watch here and there.
Kind of see what's on the property, as far as what you need to look for.
And also, I think that we haven't talked about it a lot, but down the future, maybe these illegal grow operations and stuff, having some teeth to the penalty. And we have to set that up through a model code system. And bring in revenue. I mean, El Paso County, they do their busts and stuff, they confiscate everything, they keep it, they sell it. After they do that, if it's on federal land.
Who do they sell it to?
Like the drug dealers? I don't know, but you see it all over the news, and they're making headlines of revenues and dollars. And legally, what happens when you get that? If say you find $100,000 worth of cash
Yeah, it depends. You could either try to confiscate that, but that goes through another
program
process.
But at the end of the day, do they get to keep it?
Do we get to keep
Yeah.
it? It depends on if they file for that. It's kind of a difficult process. They don't do a lot of it, but federally they do more. But on the local level, they don't do a lot of it. We can look into that.
Now, that's something we can address down the road.
To me, and I'm not making light of it.
Sorry about that, guys. I didn't realize that was coming up.
I think there's more stuff going west, building
Correct.
everything than there is east.
Right.
And
No, that's okay. Next year, we'll go after the east.
And as we progress with the flights, we can even get coordinates and move across our county so we're keeping imagery updated.
so I guess in
But we'll
terms.
stop at Branson.
Yeah, don't go east. I guess what I'm trying to figure out is if we needed to shrink the budget a little bit, how do we determine where we're going to fly and get the best bang for the buck?
Right. Because we'll fly again next year, and then it's up to our options. We can fly a 3-year cycle, a 5-year cycle, whatever the county can afford.
And we've got 3 flights that are already locked in, or 3 years
We have,
flights.
yes.
that we're obligated to for 60 grand.
Right.
It was probably gonna go to 80 after that or something.
And I agree, we should fly, I know we have building going on up to the west, that was my first gut instinct, was to fly I-25 west on our second one. And see what we could find.
Okay, and I'm.
The biggest question is making sure it's budgeted in
Yeah,
capital.
I'm really dumb. I need to know what option one costs, a 9-inch, 3-inch, all that. I guess I'm kind of reading it here, but what does that get us? Where are we taking pictures of that?
Our first one is our option one, which would be a total of $124,707.
And that would do all of this?
That would do all of that.
At 9-inch?
At 9-inch, and then just the little green part would be 3-inch.
And that's what, when you guys set this up,
That's what we have
that's what
imagery.
you were gonna do
Yes.
this year, or this coming year?
Next March.
So the greens are basically where the subdivisions are at?
Yes, that is our subdivisions that we had mapped at the time are laid in there. And those would be at 9-inch.
9-inch or 3-inch?
Would be at 9. Essentially, City of Trinidad right here map, all of this green, this light green right here, that would be the only 3-inch imagery. Which would be a picture of that courthouse.
So then if we add the 350, this one, it would add 61,473.
Correct. Yes.
But it would be all, I mean, basically the same resolution.
Same resolution, 9-inch resolution.
Okay, are you hearing those numbers, Christie? What are you?
Well, I'm saying, so, because I'm kind of following here, because it's 124,000 for, because I have this for what they gave me for 2019. And then, I have these right here, Judy, thank you.
I gave them.
And then what were the other figures? 124,000.
Yeah, so that's the one that we,
The 124,000, because I have the original contract where it shows where we paid up to 18, but then they were saying for a second project, it's 124,000.
Correct, for the option one flight.
Yes, for the city, because are we obligated to that one already?
yeah,
Did we sign off on that one?
It's in our contract.
yeah.
Oh, it is, because see, that's what
Yes.
Gary Waller and I kept asking you, and you said no, that it was just the 390,000.
No, we are obligated, whatever's in that contract is what we have signed on
Because
for.
we only actually appropriated 390,000, because remember the whole conversation we had with you last year with Gary Waller?
That I don't remember. I remember discussing pictometry, but I don't
Correct.
know.
Yeah, because we went in, we only appropriated 390,000.
Okay,
We didn't know that
That's-
124 was already obligated.
yeah, it's in our contract to fly.
Because I'm saying, yeah. Okay. Because that's, we had asked you, and I guess not. I thought you had told us no. Because
Okay.
we didn't appropriate that.
Well, and I know we had discussed if we didn't have the monies, we do have the option to not fly next year,
Oh.
but we will have to,
So then we're really, if we don't have the money, we don't have to go with this. I think that's what was said.
I believe so.
Okay.
We don't have to fly next year, but we are gonna have to fly it sometime within a 3 to 5 year period.
Okay.
If you read that
But in
contract.
2019, though, we could actually budget for this.
Yes,
Okay, yeah. But the thing about capital expenditures, we have to make sure, because the light, actually, I'm saying we have to make sure I have at least like 80,000 or more in that to actually cover that expenditure every year. So then I have to find out.
Lights.
And I'm not too sure the date when it ends, I'll have to look at that to see when that actually ends. Do you happen to remember the date on that map?
No.
How many years did it go? Because it started in what, 2010?
Yeah, are we getting money back?
I thought-
We're supposed to be getting
How the
money
lights
back.
go on and off. It says what the savings. They went with this energy company.
Okay.
They came in and it's about 80,000. And it grows every year. It increases, the price does, every year.
We pay.
Yes.
Every year, the loan actually
Spent a
increases
lot of
every year.
money fixing this thing up, and most of it was never gonna pay back in its lifetime.
Was it 10 or was it 15
It was
years?
the first, I was here about a month when we passed that, and I had no clue.
I'll have to look to see when that actually ends. So I'm trying to tell you, that's already obligated for capital expenditure. And then we have the roof and everything. So, I can do a detailed plan and I can let you know of what, if we can can really afford that
I think.
without actually saying whether we can actually, if we're gonna get the sales tax or not.
I think we need to figure it on what we've got now is what we're gonna get.
Correct.
And if the other then becomes a bonus and helps us out.
Right, okay. I can do that, I can email you that information. I would have done it, I just sorry I didn't know that we was talking financials today.
Everything's money.
I know.
Well, and we're just trying to get a game plan because before we know it, it will be here.
And I value you guys' professional opinion, what you need, to help the county do. So, whatever works best for you, we can afford it, for you and Derek and any other entities.
Right.
We have to really hash it out to make sure everybody's on the
Correct.
same page, so. And
What do you think you might pick up on the city?
I can't even begin to imagine, Mac, because we've had a pretty broken system between the county and the city as far as getting building permits and actually having manpower to get out in the city. So I think we're going to pick up quite a bit in the city.
So do you think we could pick up another net of 30,000?
Easily. Easily.
I mean, if we start bringing in 60,000 net over a couple of years ago, then
Right.
this thing becomes a bit
It's
more
profitable.
doable.
Correct.
When are you going to start looking at the city?
Hopefully when we get past, probably not till after July or August.
so that'll be on next year's tax.
Yes, because we've already sent out our NOVs, so what's there is there. It'll have to go for the following year.
In your terms, Derek, is this very helpful, somewhat helpful, or helpful?
This is a very helpful system. We've already used it several times. And we haven't really even begun to use as much as we can. But what we've used has been really useful for us.
And you're gonna have a training pretty soon.
We are the third week of July. We're hoping to get the training set up. They're going to come in here set up. They have laptops to train everybody, so we can get some more of his deputies trained and some refreshers for everyone that's interested in using it.
Okay, now then, Derek can log in anytime.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yep. He will have his own login, his own password, and as long as he has internet connection, he has access to it.
And I'm not picking on Derek, but I'm just using it as an example. Can Derek forward that to me?
He can email that shot image to you. He can't email the entire link to you, no. One of the things I was working on with, I think it was even Leanne, was trying to get a form, a confidentiality form signed that every employee would have to sign to cover our liability for it in case somebody were to leave or say a disgruntled employee gave their email and password to a private user.
See, and I guess that's the thing that scares me more than anything, is that eventually is going to get out in the community, and let's say, and it, just as an example, I guess one real estate agent, he's got a tremendous advantage over his competitor.
Correct, and I've had numerous real estate agents come in and request, and we have to deny them. So it is something probably Dixie or somebody needs to develop so we can safeguard it as far whether it's a form, something that employees have to sign stating this is connected to your job, but once you leave, we can prosecute you or something to that extent should this get out or leaked out through you.
Because eventually it was going to get out.
Hopefully not, but the nature of the beast.
Well,
Well, we need to.
I don't know, is it worth flying this vast area for the, it's a lot of money.
Even if we stuck to our option one that's in the contract, I am more than happy with that. Even this morning, Peaches came and asked me about pictometry for some of their voting issues, so we've used it there also.
Well, with not knowing any futures of what monies are available, it's like the other issues we're having. I think we have to go with what we're kind of the lowest,
Correct.
until we know what the revenues are going to be, especially with the ballot measure or the table issue. So
And my understanding is for next year's flight, because it's annual payments for the 124,000 would be around like 60 some a year. Or because we can pay it out in 3 years.
Yeah, 62,083.
That's if we went with the other deal, right? If we're only talking 124, do we pay that out in 3 years?
I believe the way it's set up, the 124, we can pay it in
We only got two
three
more years,
installments.
right? 2 more this year?
We would fly in 19 and pay in 19, 20, and 21.
Could be like 41,000. That's much more doable, isn't it, Christie?
Yeah, because
And
in 19, we also have our, we have to match our CIP for the airport. See, we take that from capital expenditure also. So we have to actually have a cash match on that also too. I'm trying to tell you, if we can stretch it to that, sure, if we can. It's just a part of
So-
stretching everywhere.
So like, okay, so next year we fly this, let's say, and we leave the 350 off. Next year, or 2020, they'll give us another option.
We can fly, we actually probably wouldn't, if we fly in 19, we probably wouldn't fly again until probably 2023. Or even further out. The 3-year payment would be for this flight in 2019,
And then we would fly again at 3 years,
if we wanted 3 or
or on
5.
the 4th year or 3rd.
So is there an option C to do it all and pay it over 3 years?
No. I can get you one though.
I mean, it might be worth looking at, especially when we don't.
That's what I'm saying, if we can finance it, and I'm just saying, and just get it all, that'd be great too.
I'd rather.
You know,
look at
Fly the whole
Finance it.
county again?
whatever that we don't have.
No, we have the whole
We
county.
have the whole county. We were
We're just-
blessed enough to fly. The first flight was the entire county, because when I came to the commissioners with the first one, my first proposal was our flight was just I-25 West, because that's where most of our population and most of our structures are. But we decided, and it was a good decision, to fly the entire county so we have a base layer of imagery. Because that never goes away. You always have what you.
So this is just updating their
The imagery.
imagery.
As people build, as the city's changing,
See what
as it's
changes
growing.
have happened. And
Yeah. See what growth you've had.
Yeah, if they let us finance it, if they let us finance it over 3 years,
So yeah, we divide the 124 by 3. Is that what you're saying?
41,000 there. But if we we want to do more, the pixels, whatever, get upgraded. If they're going to be out here flying anyway.
So basically, we're looking at the 350 option for 20 grand a year.
Well, if we pay it over 3 years, right now, what she's brought in is 30,000, so we're really only having to put in 10,000 a year, and if she picks up some more
As
stuff.
we pick up more and
And-
more.
Trinidad,
We are anxious
that
to
could
get.
possibly make up the 10,000 to where we can do the 350 option for another 20,000.
Right. And you can always go back to the table and upgrade and adjust flights as we move into the future, as needed. They can tailor and structure it for our uses.
So what year did we fly the entire
2016,
county?
March of 2016.
2015?
2016.
We're 2018, next year will be 2019. I would say Derek would find quite a few buildings out there.
That was a matter of time.
Correct.
In fact, including the 350 area.
And each office is using it to their own specific needs, which is, I'm glad it's there and I'm glad it's a helpful tool because it does have so much functionality. I mean, you can find out ownership within whatever radius we can pull. Your measurement tool is unbelievable. Like we've used it, Derek has already used it to determine distance between two places. I mean, we use it daily for measuring tool because that's how I obtain this. It's your house, that's not your garage. And I'm like, oh, my husband must have put that there.
Mm-hmm.
When I was sleeping.
Yeah, well, yeah. Went up overnight.
I was wondering what that noise was.
I like the 350 idea too, because of all the people moving in, the camper trailers and all that stuff. And not so much for assessing taxes, but for him and for law enforcement.
Correct.
Because it's gonna get worse before it gets better. We've already had numerous people complain about those ranches out there, including Mr. Hill and, so.
I like option 2 if we can afford it. That, and then, that's just less we have to do 3 years from now, 6 years from now. Then we can do down in Mac's house and see that big barn and stuff.
So I'm
Didn't you
gonna
hear?
have to camouflage it.
They just
New
said that
Mexico.
movie was so. Swimming pool underneath their operations.
Okay, so option 2 would add another 61,000, is that correct?
Yeah, and that would be another 20,000 a year.
And I will email specifics to Christie if we can just get an idea.
If it's doable.
Right.
I mean, I don't want,
No.
Because it would be budgeted for next year, not this year.
Okay. That'd be a lot less, because like I said, there's other obligations,
Right.
capital expenditure, and we have to keep that
You
in
know,
mind.
and I guess that's what the 3 of us need to see, is what the obligations are.
I can make a list, once I do this, I'll make a list of the obligations on here that we know of at this moment.
And as we get the training set up, I will let everybody know, but we are looking about that 3rd week of August. And they will come here, they've got 20-some laptops, we can run off the Wi-Fi in this room and everybody can sit down and have a hands-on
It
how to
might
run
make
it.
it crash, you better be careful.
Well, hopefully we don't crash it.
well, I know when we went to the first little class, I was like, man, I wish I had this, you know, that's cool stuff.
It
This
is.
is really neat stuff.
It's very, very useful, very valuable tool. It has allowed my office to do its job in a very crunched and a very cut year. At 30 hours a week, we were able to get through a reval. We put on close to 18 million in actual value that year. This year we had 33 million in actual value. It has allowed us to do our job. We're saving on fuel, we're saving on wear and tear. The safety of my staff is first and foremost. It has been invaluable.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, not just the income that it's created, but also the savings
savings.
that
Savings on the
it's
expenditures.
created, yeah.
Because if I drive out there and it's easily, you can drive 200 to 300 miles and never leave this county, and if there's a locked gate and a no trespassing sign, legally I can't get past there. This has allowed me to do my job much, much more efficiently, and like I said, the safety of my staff, especially with what's happening in our county at this time.
So if there's a locked gate and you take a picture of it, it's legal.
If I take from the aerial imagery, yes, but I cannot physically pass that locked gate or that no trespassing sign. Consider, it's actually called, the law is called best information available. So by having aerial imagery, that's the best information I have available, so I get to use that. And we've actually had a lot of people this last protest cycle, this last track cycle, came in and were like, wow, you finally caught us, and we've been able to iron out some issues.
Wow, they were that honest?
Oh, yes, because I knew, and it's a very humbling moment when you have to say we've been failing at our job and we couldn't get that new construction out there, but now we are getting it out there, and when people get their tax bill, they'll call and say, hey, you know, and we'll sit down and go over attributes. Maybe we have them for a wood floor and they've got carpet. Maybe their house was built in 2016 and we have them for 2020 or whatever. It lets us get our data correct and accurate. And you can't argue with a picture. Picture speaks 1,000 words.
Well, and the thing, I don't know, were you at that class or?
I don't think Derek was, no.
Well, they actually, what was cool is that they're using other customers, clients, to help better their system. One was law enforcement, and they showed us, I think, was it Douglas County still?
Yes.
They had this a long time ago, and they use it, you know, when they go into SWAT situation. They know there's, you know, they don't know the house, but they were using that this is a bedroom, this is a kitchen, and so the pictometry people are like, how do you know that? Size of the windows.
Size of the windows,
You know,
vents, things like
and
that.
size of the room, you know, just, so they were learning from law enforcement to better their system, and I thought that was.
And I attended the first training that she had when we first got it, but I wasn't able to do the second, but that was already a piece of it that they were focusing on. And that is an invaluable tool for us. So we can tell if it's 2 stories, where other properties lie, it could be useful on that, and you can see where they're at, or they might be. As before, if you're just coming in blind to it, you don't know.
Plus, we already have directions, and you can see landmarks of how to get to places we go in our county without sending a deputy or my staff out there, and then they're lost. Or we wasted a day because they get there and they can't find it. You already have a physical map, per se, to get you where you need to go.
And on that last call, she was able to pinpoint the residences north of where this property was, and she was able to block it with the color to show me exactly how far away it was. There was a road to it. As soon as I gave them that, they found it within minutes. So it's not marked. There's nothing out there. There's no mailboxes. It's very difficult to do what we need to do, but with this it helps tremendously.
Well, I'm glad you guys initiated this.
So am I. I'm glad they took a chance.
Yeah, I remember it took a lot of heat when I was running for that.
I've taken a lot of heat, but it's also part of the duty of my job. And
It brings us to the 21st century. It brings us to our community, just like what we did with you in Peach's office today. It was people getting the job done.
correct,
Instead of just wasting money somewhere else, we can save money and make more money.
right.
So,
Kind of stepping into new times too, instead of staying in dinosaur ages.
Right, I'm tired of that chisel and that rock.
I guess if we get more stuff.
As I get more information,
stuff.
I'll pass it on, I'll get it to Christy and go from there. Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you.
See you guys.
We're still gonna come in, Harold and Kim and everybody, that we're gonna pinpoint the waters where we got waters and fires.
I think that would be come sit down and we can do that, because I'm afraid the closer we get and the drier we get, it's gonna be very valuable. Very valuable. The last fire we had just should have been an eye-opener. Durango's still burning. Silverthorne was
Well,
burning.
the feds finally went to stage 1.
I know Pagosa Springs, their BLM and their state forestry were going to a stage 2, and they were concerned it was going to hurt their economy, which I understand. But like I expressed to my colleagues in the assessment department, I said it's going to hurt your economy one way or another. If you're burning, people aren't coming, and you're going to cost your county money, because once they start, they're going to go.
Well, I mean, if that whole forest burns down, nobody's coming next year.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Which is it's a fact. All right,
Okay.
gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Run it back to the hospital. I will. Thank you.
We adjourned that last meeting at 12:15. It was Dean and Louise, everybody said yes.
Oh, yeah, I got the.
From executive, right? And then in 11:34 and came out.
Yeah. Call for the telephone. Somewhere.
We need to call her.
Yes, if she's ready. Yeah, give her a call.
I drank 2 bottles of water for lunch.
Do you want me to stay for this one?
You probably wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Unless you're just so overwhelmed you can't do anything.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
Turn the fans on for a minute.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, look at this window, this is hot air now, so.
You better shut off the.
Press the off button.
mom shut off his camera, I can't remember. Text him.
Guess they need those signs that,
I won't listen to what you.
oh, no, it's about airport.
Yeah, we're still on to, we're on camera. Okay.
Because he asked me the other day if when those signs were coming, and I told him I never got the thing. So he said to go to that. Apparently that's where they need to work on the signs and something about making a flag or something.
Yeah, go ahead and do what you have to do on that. Okay, I'm saying if it's anything over 100, though, we need board approval. And then, yeah,
I'll have to go in.
yeah, but there's so much cost at this airport this year. So many, every time you turn around, something's broken out there.
Let's go.
I don't know, something different. I guess when you pull the hose out, it kind of like automatically goes back in. That's broken
Ever
out.
since they fixed something.
Ever since they fixed, the 13,000, ever since they fixed that we haven't had problems to where it's nonstop. It's costing us more and more.
So when we fixed that thing, it was absolutely, we had to get it done the next day.
Yeah, what Breezy said. I don't know, but anyway, we have another problem now to where we have to have an electrician go out, and so I said, send me a quote.
You know what?
And then, because anything over $100, it's going for
Who do we have as electricians?
Jeff Murray is looking at it this moment. He's gonna fix the last one that we did. I don't know. Maybe we might turn around and something else at the airport. So,
Yes. So that's not a system of old stuff just wearing out, it's something.
yeah, there's something else too that I don't quite understand what it is. But, Sammy said it's good to go, because
You going to the next meeting?
maybe we should have Sammy come and talk to you.
I haven't been to one
Maybe
for a
we'll
while,
explain to
so
you.
I
Like, everything that's wrong out there.
Have we ever fixed any of the doors or not? Have we ever fixed the doors?
Oh, you mean the hangers? No, we need to get that fixed. We still have to fix the insurance. Yeah.
Anywhere is that break from
We
me?
still haven't done the
I
insurance.
can't.
No.
There was it the windstorm?
Yeah, if we have insurance
Is there
claims,
something
we're
you
waiting to
need
fix
us
that,
to
but
either for?
Kenny's overwhelmed, I'm assuming to,
We've got the money, we've already got the money to fix it.
yeah.
Is it
Oh,
set
okay.
aside? I mean, we know how much it was, and
Yeah,
at least we'll hire 2 people.
yeah. That would be helpful.
One will be at the fairgrounds.
And one here.
What time are you getting back to Trinidad? I can go pick it up in the morning. Is it down at the gym? Uh-oh, what kind you get? Another Schnauzer,
I know a couple of budgets that we're going to look at.
huh? Awesome.
I said I know a couple of budgets we could probably look at. It's
I don't have it, sorry. We have very little in ours.
I know, we script as it is.
Yeah, we have very little in ours, just to tell you that.
Wow, that's a long way to go get a dog. So, but yeah, I can come by and see you in the morning sometime tomorrow. I have a bike house. Okay, well. Well, yeah, okay, Mike, we're getting ready to start again. Okay, I sure will. Get that. Got some leftover sugo.
I just got an email from my wife. She got an email, ironically from the county, Pueblo County Board of Commissioners. They're gonna have a public announcement tomorrow, Wednesday, June 20th, 11 o'clock. The minor league baseball team guy is gonna make the announcement tomorrow. Pueblo.
Yeah, I saw it on TV
I
last
saw it
night.
on the news.
So, anyway, we play baseball up there on Sundays. Our son's in the league, so I think that's why she got the email, but that's pretty exciting.
What's your cell?
What's your cell? Which one?
County.
680-7142. So, yeah,
That's good. Arlene says she's great over. So we're gonna put a, you're on, morning, Jason.
thank you guys.
We resumed the DHS meeting at 2:25. Marlene just passed out some stuff, and she's going to explain it all to us.
Okay, so the first pages are just showing the employees and the programs that they're tied to, and what the county share would be without using our 100% dollars would be $11,900 at the bottom of that column. If we don't use county funds and use the Medicaid incentives, we would only be liable for $100 on the 90-10 employee, which is towards the very bottom, like third from the bottom, and that's Ms. Hype Goodrich. And only because she is tied to that 90-10 reimbursement rate, just because we hired her under that specific county workload study funding. So that would be the only cost to the county if we use the Medicaid incentives. And using the Medicaid incentives, starting at the top, single entry point is all 100% except for the 3 that do some work in APS, and those 3 amounts are what would total for the med incentive pot. The child support unit, it would be $2,700 that we would take out of the med incentives. The Colorado Works, and again, this is kind of a moving target because they bill some to med and food based on their time reporting sheet every month. So it would probably be less than that would come out of the med incentive pot. The same with the technician unit, the county admin unit. It would probably be much less than $2,400 coming out of the med incentives because again, they bill to Medicaid and food stamps is in their time reporting. County admin, the business office, myself and Ernie, again, we're kind of a split pot in that some of our money comes out of single entry point and then the rest out of county admin. So it would be $1,340 and $640 that would come out of med incentives. Core services is 100%. Child welfare, it would have been $1,950 if we were using county dollars, but we've got enough in both child welfare and our core allocations that we can put it all to 100%. And the loan sheet kind of shows you what our allocations and what our expenditures have been through April only. So bottom line, I mean, we could pull the $9,932.40 out of the Medicaid incentive pot. And then on this sheet, it will show you what we have gotten in that county Medicaid incentive contract. The first year we earned almost $25,000 for meeting those timeliness goals, the training, and it's this sheet here. Yeah. The second year, we earned 19,000. We missed one of the goals, and they didn't accept our disputed argument to regain that funding. And then in 16, 17, we earned 28,000. And so we won't know what we get in 17, 18 until probably late August. And whenever I get the allocations for any program, those are usually attached in one of my board meeting packets so that you're aware of the money coming in, and then the monthly financial shows you what goes out. But again, there's no county cost to that. So we have about, in the Medicaid incentives, have about 74,000 right now. And like I said this morning, I've kind of just been hanging on to that, fearing the worst with that elevator, anticipating the cost of, what that belt will cost from bottom floor to top floor, and the labor involved. I'm anticipating that's going to be a good chunk for us.
You have one employee that's on here twice for a bonus. Is that intentional or is it an accident?
Which one?
Well,
Don't say the name.
I'm not. On the first paragraph, on the last one, the last name, for the SEP,
Okay.
and then on the core, that person's there again.
Because they're funded out of two different pots.
Okay, but were you going to give the same dollar amount that's
that
there?
would be an error, so it would be
Yeah, I would say
minus.
that's an error because that's a lot more than anybody else.
Yeah,
So that should be divided in half, I'm assuming.
yeah,
Okay.
or by the percentage.
Okay.
The other thing I brought over, because it was hard to print something that would show how it's going to reflect when we enter payroll, I brought over what's called our KEBS report, and I just will kind of pass this around and you can kind of look. But it all goes into Simon initially, and then they have to enter it into KEDS, and then it's automatically broken down by the percentage that is tied to the program that they're working in. So, it's more than a one-step process to pay our staff. But I think, I made all my arguments this morning. I don't want to waste all of our time if you all have a decision one way or the other. But yeah, so you'll find all of our staff, and you may see them on more than one page because again, they're funded out of different programs. I know, we need a big magnifying glass.
Let me take them out.
So as I'm reading this, the county is going to be on the hook for $100.
That's what it would be using all 100% dollars. And again, we've got the allocation less in most of the programs. The only one we overspent was child care. And that's due to increased cases that we have, number of children that we're serving.
And when you have money to fix the elevator,
We would still, we would only use like 9,900 out of the Medicaid incentives, and then minus 7 from 74,000. Because that's what we have in their total.
so you said earlier that the funds, there were some funds that we could use in other places. Of course,
And the Medicaid incentives would be the only one. The one sheet where it does show the Medicaid incentives, you'll see on the second page, you'll see the deferred revenue, Senate Bill 94 parental fees.
the 9932, or which page?
It's that page there. So it's those ones. You'll the incentives that have come in from that program through child welfare and through child support, that we have a $211,000 in incentives there, but that is specifically tied to child welfare. It has to be towards prevention, intervention, reunification, and at-risk youth and children. So we use that money sometimes when kids are coming out of foster care to stabilize and support families as the kids return to the home. So that's a huge pot, and my understanding is that we have never spent that money historically going back, that we've never really tapped into it for programs, because we use the child welfare allocation for some of those things, and the special economic assistance and the Title 40 waiver dollars.
I talked to Luis Garcia up at CCI, I told him.
Yes.
And then I talked to him again afterwards. He was in Alamosa County or something the other day, and I asked him his opinion on this issue. His opinion, and Luis Garcia is the, what's his title?
Legislative fiscal analyst.
Analyst for Department of Services for the state, right?
And his program area is mostly Colorado Works.
Colorado Works, yeah. And he gave me his opinion that if it was him and his office, he'd rather see an annual increase in pay for the staff instead of this type of bonus program, which I kind of was talking about earlier, doing it countywide, and so it's just one office and stuff. I know it's different animals and stuff, but his interpretation of what I explained to him was kind of along that path too. So, but then we don't know if we have the money for everybody, because we're still in a gray area with what we're going to do with the leftover sales tax revenues. When we're sitting kind of in a limbo like we were last year, and I want to reiterate the fact that last year I think you guys didn't have to furlough until towards the end of the last couple of months of the year, and the rest of Los Angeles County staff was at 30 hours. This is a really big, tough pill to swallow. Although the other side of it is, for me, is it's free money to help to put back in our community. My opinion is, I believe I want to fix this. I want to fix this, and I want everybody to have more wages next year. I just are finding difficulty moving forward with this. Although I know it's so badly needed, I've been even reached out by a certain staff member over there looking for extra work. And mentioned that there's programs at your offices that person could go on, and they didn't want to do that. Their pride. And it hurts right here to know that our own people can't eat. And it's a very difficult decision, but the decisions that we have to make, and me personally, I have to make it on behalf of the entire county, and what's fair for all. And this one it's a good thing, but it's not fair to the rest, and that's my opinion.
But again, they've been way ahead of us for years. I mean, we'll never
Yeah, it's
make
broken.
that difference.
It's broken, yeah.
Yeah. And again, we're apples and oranges. I mean, there's so much federal and state reimbursement coming through our programs and what we do, and the fact that our work, I mean, pretty much keeps this community afloat. If you see the numbers every month that our work provides to the community, the dollars that go out into the community.
It's a tough one.
It is, I agree, and
Was Debbie not available to come?
no, she didn't. She was unavailable. We're short-staffed with one out on FMLA, and so.
Dean, you have any thoughts or comments?
It's just a tough decision. Probably tougher since I've been appointed. hard to turn money down that's an outside source leaving our community. That's the dilemma I'm in. The other thing is what, Louis with DHS said, try to spread it around instead of it's just a one-time shot. And I understand that this building and that building are two different. They're two different organizations, if you will. But the funding, our funding, comes from the same group, comes from the same budget. And for me, it's hard to make up shortfalls and then give money away when there was money here that we possibly could have used for some of that shortfall. And I think that's the dilemma I'm in right now.
Could that be budgeted in next year? This extras, so like an increase for wages? Instead of having to do this this last year, I mean, can that be done?
Yeah, and we do that in our preliminary budget, and then we're told to take it out.
Are you doing this now though because money's gonna be sent back? Is that what you're trying to do this at this moment? For the increase, for the bonus?
Yeah, for what we have left in
So
allocations.
you'd rather do that instead of sending the money back? And I understand about budgeting for the increase like next year, but.
Am I did this quickly in my head, but is it $68,000?
That would be left in Medicaid incentives?
No, that's what all of these people will get paid.
Yeah, close.
Totally.
It's just 71.5 and one, there was an error
Yeah.
on that, so about 68, yes.
And again, I think last time that when I first presented this, I asked for a little bit of leeway because, again, some of our staff have not been there even a year. So, I mean, I'd like to kind of play with it somewhat, and those that haven't been there as long, not get the full amount versus those that have been there long, and take into consideration performance, behavior, attitude. I mean, like I said, I've got a couple of veteran staff that are not performing as well as some of the younger staff.
Yeah, just because you've been here longer doesn't mean you're working as hard. That's why this here is by years. And to me, is that fair?
Right.
Just because you're here longer doesn't mean that you're more valuable than the ones that have been here for
That brings another gray area.
years. So, yeah, because this doesn't seem like it's.
I mean, there's some workers that are knocking it out of the ballpark, right, on a daily basis. They're doing twice as much work as some of the ones who should be running circles around some of the young woods.
So how much, so this $9,900 and some change, is that what we could have put towards the shortfall?
Yeah,
I'm trying to look at it that way.
yeah, if you take the Medicaid incentives,
Yeah.
if that's what the board wishes.
And I guess I'm a little confused here. We were presented a thing where our share was going to be $11,000 or something, and now we come back and it's only $100. And I guess my question is why weren't we given that one first?
Well, because I wasn't considering using the Medicaid incentives at that point.
Okay. So what was going to happen to the Medicaid incentives had you not used them?
It would have sat there and we'd get another lump sum in August
And that's the money you're talking about, that you could buy jackets or furniture.
Yeah. And again, that elevator weighs heavy on my mind. That will be, we're thinking it's
Well,
going to
until it's operable for a year straight with very minor repairs, it's always going to be there,
Where was the conference at that the Schindler elevator was broken?
In Crested Butte.
Is it a hotel?
Yeah, I don't remember which hotel.
I wonder if I call them to see how often they have problems with this, because if it's gonna be an ongoing thing, we might have to address it. Just go ahead.
Replace the whole darn thing.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
and Arlene can back me up on this, when we tried to get the guy that works on our elevator here
They
to
won't.
do that, but when he found out it was a Schindler, he wouldn't do it.
What brand is this one?
It's Otis.
Otis.
Otis, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a dinosaur at the end that pulls a rope.
You haven't seen down there, that, it looks like it downstairs.
Throwing bones out of there.
I mean, it was short-sighted, so we went with the cheapest bid. I mean, this was before my time, but there again, we need to do a lot more due diligence when we do these sort of things.
Yeah.
Because cheap is not as most,
Right. You get what you pay for sometimes.
Even with our staff, we get the high turnover rate because they don't pay enough, and I know, we all know it.
And I still have maybe 8 to 10 staff that are food and med, receiving food and med.
So this, I guess, I'm a little still confused. It says county share and there's 11,982.40.
And that was my initial presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
She had it.
So that's no longer.
Right, that's, yeah, but it was just easier to add a couple of columns in to try and redo this.
Okay. So if you will, you take out the 99.32, 40 Medicaid incentives that could possibly be used for a shortfall. Can we still use that for the shortfall?
Yeah, if we don't use it for the bonus, yeah.
Are you talking about the shortfall of the 236,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'd be like 10 grand. That would drop that if incentive amount to 61.5, if you will.
but then if you give a bonus, you go back,
No,
it
it's
costs us $11,000.
$5,000.
Yeah, it costs us $9,000.
If we get the bonus, and we put that towards the shortfall, still costs us 11 grand.
It's,
Right.
So either way,
Either way, it's the same thing.
damage to do, damage to
well, Peter to pay Paul.
do. Yeah. I mean, this is, like I say, this is only my second year, and I'm still learning a lot of stuff. There's lots of stuff to learn. But I don't know. I think we need to revisit this in November and see where to go from there.
During budget time.
Yep. Just because, I mean, the second year I'm here, we're making up money, 200-some thousand this year.
I kind of agree, following Garcia's advice, make your offices whole with these funds for next year, put it part of the budget. If there's leftovers, if we're having these Medicaid incentives, we put them towards salaries instead of towards the end of the year covering the county's share for overages. So,
And then do you still do the merit system too? So we're
Well,
gonna
we
do a
do
merit
the
system
certification every year, but
instead of like years, if you like a merit system for them?
we would be able to do that. I still have all those merit system scales. We'd have to really probably rework them because we haven't done that since
Some of the people that go,
2002.
don't you get the merit system for them? Because you used to have that,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
Are some
And I think-
still on the merit system?
No, because when it went out, we were required to create a county merit system plan, which was sent to the state, and I think I presented that here as well. And so we were supposed to continue to get annual increases, but I think over those years, I wouldn't be able to say how many, but I know we haven't gotten a raise since 2012 or 13, I believe.
Now, the system is a mess, and we have to address it now coming this budget season, and it's hard for one group to the other, and I understand you guys have been less paid, but road bridge guys, the same thing over there. I want to fix our wages, I want our monies to come through. We have to sell this, whatever our attorney advises us to do for a ballot measure to keep the overages, so we can let the folks know we're gonna work on getting increases for everybody across the board, in my opinion. I think I'd like to see that. I hate throwing away good money, like Dean said, free money. But we have to represent the entire county. It's hard to do this,
Yeah.
and I know.
Well, and you mentioned, it has to be fair for everybody, but it hasn't been fair for us over the years.
So this 11,000 for Medicaid is just gonna remain?
It will stay there, and again, hoping that we'll have it in case we do need to look at replacing an elevator or continue to repair it. I mean,
Yeah, because we still don't
Last
know
year.
how much it's gonna cost to fix it, so.
we just sent out a check for the $6,000 for the annual maintenance agreement, and then less than a month ago when they came, what was that, 2,100 or something?
Yeah, they sent a bill.
Mhm.
Isn't that part of the maintenance?
No, because it didn't fall under the maintenance apparently.
Of course not.
Yeah, nothing falls under the maintenance,
That's not.
because we get paid for every visit, every time they come.
And we have to pay mileage every time. That's why we wanted to get quotas for that guy, so that we could split that. He was gonna.
Who does the health department? Is it Otis?
I don't know.
So, $61,000 will be going back to Denver, is what you're saying?
No,
We've already given 200 to El Paso, right?
right, and that was just one program area, so if you go back to the sheets, this sheet. So I broke it out by program area, and what we're expected to have left, the last column is what we're expected to have left in each program area. So Colorado Works, that
Which
first
page are
one,
you on, Marlene? I'm sorry.
this one here.
The 495, the last column, top last column, or which one?
Yeah, so the allocation minus the 12 months expenditures, that's what we will have left in each of our programs based on what our spending has
Oh, the
been so far.
124?
Yeah, so that's minus the 85,000 that we're given to COG, and then the 200,000 that we're transferring is coming out of this amount as well as what was in our reserves. Because Luis Garcia recommended that we try and get our reserves down to 30%, because the allocation formula is changing and the mitigation formula is changing, so we'll get more mitigation dollars next year to put us in a better position for next year when that close out. And then in county admin, 135,000, but those are $80-20. That's what will be going back to the state.
So the 135 will be going back?
Yeah, roughly that amount. Again, this is only through April. In the HICPUF regular, some funds will be going back 46,000, and 100%. We're trying to spend that 17,000, and that's just based on time reporting. The APS admin, we only have 3 workers here that are part-time in that program, so 66,000 is unspent in that program.
That one also?
APS client benefits, this is to help clients that are at risk. and we still have 42 at the end of April, 4,200 at the end of April.
So this will go back to the state and then they'll send us more money back?
In July 1, we get our new allocations in all the programs. So whatever goes back is called surplus distribution, so the counties that are overspent in those areas will get some of what we send back. And I didn't bring that sheet with me, but I mean, there's some counties that are like millions of dollars overspent, those big counties. So they're happy to pick up our dollars, especially like in childcare, because we've already paid the MOU on that, or even on TANF, they pick up the MOU. But so, you know, some counties are happy to go ahead and spend because they know they have a good chance of getting it back, their over expenditure, getting it from the state.
So, you know, out of all the whole thing, there's $10,000 that we can use towards the budget, if you will. The rest of the money goes back to Denver.
$10,000 would sit in her fund balance, you know, instead of starting with zero. The $10,000 could sit in her fund balance instead of having it start at zero for 18. You know, because that's kind of a concern every year that she starts with a zero fund balance.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Why do we have to give any of the Medicaid money away? Why can't we keep that?
We can keep the Medicaid incentives
And
that
just-
we've earned. Yeah, that
there
is
an
ours
option of
because of our
using the state
performance.
money? I
It's
mean,
the
is
other
there-
program dollars that will go back that are unspent. But Medicaid incentives, we have earned that because of our performance over the past 3 years. So that is ours to use however we decide, however the board.
You know,
And it makes your head spin.
What I'm trying to figure out is why do we have money to send back? Why haven't we spent that money?
Well, part of it is salaries, because salaries come out of our allocation. Again, if salaries were to increase, then we'd be spending more of those allocations. Caseloads drives it, administrative costs drive, child welfare placements, the adoptions, the subsidized guardianships, you know.
And the bigger counties are spending all the money they get plus. So,
Yeah. Some counties, yes, and not all counties overspend, but generally you can see the red on those large counties.
So do we have to make an action on this, or?
yeah, well, I mean, she's gotta know by the 30th, right? Or-
Well, by Monday, because payroll will start getting processed on Monday.
So the money that's sent back, did we already pay our 20% on that?
No,
Is that allocated already?
no,
No?
just in TANF and childcare, that our MOU comes off the top every month, regardless of whether we use the money or not, just
So
those two
you said
programs.
TANF and what?
Childcare.
Okay.
So if we take out the Medicaid, let's say, it won't cost us more than $0.01.
Except for the
We use it-
$100
except
for
for
that
the
one,
$100.
yeah, for that one employee.
You guys are the smart ones.
I want to attack this issue during budget time and address our whole entire county. a tough thing. I'm gonna pull the Band-Aid and make a motion to deny. And we can address this in budget, and we can work with you guys hand in hand. I wanna be involved in it to make increases for your department.
Okay.
Any thoughts?
Hmm?
Any thoughts?
That's kind of the way I would go, is that I think it's much better to fix the problem than to put on a Band-Aid, and I think that's what we're doing here. And figure out how, when we get these funds, how do we spend them so that we don't send them back? And that I don't understand, is that if we're getting all of this money and we're sending back a bunch of it, why? And I've got to understand that. Why are we sending back money? Why aren't we spending it
Well,
Throughout the year.
in that
and
year?
again, you know, I don't spend if we don't need something for cases, and, you know, we don't have a choice in that. But, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and order some computers for all of our workstations. We've got a few empty workstations. And, so I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, fill those with that. Probably buy some more supplies so that we're, you know, okay for a while, starting the new year. But again, you know, I don't wanna be frivolous and spending tax dollars when we don't need to. But, so I will spend some of it, but not near what we have left. Some years, you know, depending on circumstances, we have overspent some of those programs. And child welfare probably is the biggest one where we had to mitigate. We had to request more money from the state to cover our over expenditures. So it just depends on cases and,
So you're saying that we couldn't, say next year budget, in those programs, $1 raise across the board, and it work out every year? You know what I'm saying? To where,
$1 a month?
you know, we're using, what's that?
$1 a month?
Well, no. Did I say a month?
No, you didn't.
Okay. But you know what I'm saying, where we can use this money instead of sending it north. That's my whole thing, is I don't like giving Denver back money.
And if we can get, like I said, more increases on the salary side of things, our 20% match would go up, of course, but during budget time. And then this would be a moot point for years on going down the road. And I think, like I said, I think it would solve the problem instead of, so, we have did I make the motion?
Yeah. We have a motion to deny the Medicaid money being used. Is that what I'm hearing?
Deny the entire bonus.
Okay.
Okay, and then she can do what she wants with the Medicaid funds, like she just said about computers, right? Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
no, those would come out of program area funds.
program area.
Yeah.
So
And
use-
again,
use
we'll
the-
be using still as much as we can of the 100% dollars to purchase whatever we need.
And upgrade and spend as much as you can on that.
Yeah.
And that way we can get your staff some better equipment. It's a start better than a, I don't know. It's a tough one, but anyway.
So how much are you gonna be using out of that money for your computer?
They're gonna use it out of other programs, Dean.
Hmm?
They're gonna use the money out of other programs,
Oh.
not the 10,000, is that over?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I get anything for child welfare, it will come out of the child welfare 100%. We still got some core services, so we'll use what we can. There's some that maybe we can do something for a family that we're, you know, maybe trying to stabilize. And it, you know, it has to fall within the scope of what they let us spend it for, so it has to meet all those codes that we have to enter for each expenditure.
Well, I guess, Arlene, I feel the same way as Luis does, is I'd like to tackle this in November and try to figure out what we're gonna do going forward as a fix rather than a Band-Aid. And I think we need a 3 to 5 year plan of where we want to be in 3 or 5 years. And I think we need to be doing that all the time. And we can always revise it depending on what happens, whether you're still a growth industry or things level off or things like that. So I'd rather look at it in November. And I understand that it's not going to cost anything if you use a Medicaid. It's not going to cost the county anything. But I think we're going to have the same discussion again in a year.
We would, before that probably.
Yeah. And I'd rather we try to fix the problem rather than just give an aspirin every year to take away the pain. So I would second the motion.
Commissioner Miller?
Oh, yes, yes. Sorry.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Can't hear with it.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes.
Arlene, I want you, I know you're in a rock and a hard place too, with your staff, going to bat for them, and I appreciate all what you try to do for them as well. Please convey that we want this to be fixed, for permanent, for the rest of their careers here, not just for this year.
Yeah.
And that's where I personally feel very personal about and compassionate about for these people that work for our community. You know, and it's a tough decision, but I'm gonna help you get this fixed.
Okay.
Well, and, like I said, this is the toughest decision I've had to make, since I've been here. And there's been a few hard ones, but, I don't like being put in this situation. I want, like they said, I want it to be fixed so we don't have to even be here. And hopefully, and that way we don't have to be put in this situation again. And that way we can fix it.
Very good. Thank you all for your time.
So,
Great.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Thank you. No,
They'll leave it, they'll shut it.
I'll shut it down.